Ready?
Everything owes its existence solely and completely to sound.
Let's do it.
Sound is the factor which holds us together.
Watch it.
I do wish I was around at the time of this music, man.
Oh, mate, literally. For me,
When psychedelic rock and all that stuff was at its height.
mate,
I really wish I was there.
yeah.
Part of that.
Well, there are a few. I wish I was at Monterey Festival, 67,
Yeah.
which was, they're all based around Jimi Hendrix, by the way, all the ones I want to be at.
So was he headlining?
Yeah. That was where he really fucking took off. Like, really fucking... That's when he, like, set fire to his guitar on stage.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And
And
it was
that-
like, he was playing it by his teeth. He smashed it up and then set fire to it on stage. That was a fucking legend.
And at the time, I bet that was like,
Oh,
what the
yeah.
fuck?
Yeah.
Especially if you're on psychedelic.
Oh, yeah. And then, obviously, Woodstock 69 as well.
Woodstock 69, that's what everyone talks about.
Yeah, like,
What bands were there?
like everyone. Like, Zeppelin,
Oh.
Janis Joplin, Rolling Stones.
Oh.
Like, you name them, top brands were there.
Everyone was there, Woodstock.
Yeah.
Because that's always something now that's referenced in popular culture. It's like Woodstock, man.
And everyone was on acid.
Yeah.
So,
Or shrooms.
or shrooms.
But yeah, I really wish I was there at the height of it, because now I listen to the music and I love the music. I just think,
I just think the lifestyle as well. Like, I don't know. There was less care. There was more care in certain areas, like Vietnam War, right, race wars and things like that. But like, I think like the festival vibe was that kind of refuge from the shit that was going on around you, if you get what I mean. And I feel like there was that kind of, that's where like there was less care about psychedelics. Psychedelics were done openly, you know.
were they?
Yeah.
That's great.
Or
I wish I was there.
yeah. Fucking, I've seen posters of like people holding up like fucking Woodstock acids, like $1 a tab kind of thing.
I bet that was strong shit as well.
Yeah, it's probably a lot stronger than the shit we're taking. But no, like, mate, what a fucking vibe. Yeah. I really want to experience those kind of festivals now, like psychedelic festivals.
But that's the thing. That's what I'm saying. Are they around?
I don't know. You just with
I know there's like psychedelic-y.
Yeah, there's always a psychedelic vibe. But
Yeah.
a psychedelic safe festival. You know, where you can go and you can be off your tits on shrooms and feel comfortable because everyone else around you is off their tits on shrooms. And
Yeah.
it's almost like, you know, when we go out and we like don't want to bump into people on the street because they're outside of our bubble.
Yeah. You don't want to try and talk to them.
Like, if that bubble is that whole festival, I can imagine that being an amazing vibe.
Well, apparently, so my friend of mine speaks about this festival called Small World Festival.
Yeah.
It's in the south somewhere. And apparently that is like a proper hippie vibe place. Like you go there and it's just people just pitch up and play instruments. And
Yeah.
I mean, I think there is music to see and stuff.
Yeah.
But you're just like vibing and you camp out for like 3 or 4 days. And like you go into these different areas. So in one corner, like you might go into this tent with like just people playing guitar and singing along. And then you go elsewhere and there's just other people vibing with other people and just...
Yeah. That'd be amazing. Like, mate, we should roll up,
Do a podcast episode.
Do a podcast episode directly from them. Fucking take my homegrown shrooms. And let's roll up. Let's do it. Why the fuck not? Because I want that safe in the sun space. Live music, safe vibe, but like setting is obviously so fucking important. You know, like I love doing psychedelics, but I love doing psychedelics in my room with people I love. You know, outside of that is a scary place.
Yeah, and you feel like you want to open it out to more people.
Yeah, exactly. And
but you don't want to get hurt.
Yeah, exactly. But if I know those other people are also doing shrooms or are also on acid, you know, then I feel like you're just gonna you take more care of each other. Like it's like, for instance, like if you or anyone else I know kind of had a bad trip, I'd know how to deal with that. You know, and you'd know how to deal with that in a certain way in comparison to dealing that with like a bad like doing bad cocaine or doing, you know, having a bad pill vibe, you know. Like, I feel like that's the sort of thing, like, if I had a bad psychedelic trip, I don't want to wake up in hospital, you know.
Hospital?
Like, I don't want people fucking putting me in a fucking loony bin because I'm having a bad psychedelic trip. Do you get what I mean?
You're having a bad trip and they think you're mad.
Yeah, exactly. You know, I want people around me that are going to like fucking stroke my hair, be like, it's okay, you're fine. It's just a bit scary right now. You know, and that's part of psychedelics. You've got to be comfortable in that environment around you.
Yeah.
You know?
So that's why this Small World Festival might actually be good. Because if it is like-minded people sitting around and just chilling.
We should definitely look it up.
Yeah. It's one that it is quite a hippie vibe to it. I think I checked out the website.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things where it's like tickets. It was something weird. It was like £105 if you got a well-paid job. £85 if you don't have a well-paid job. and you just say, but you don't have to give any proof or anything.
Yeah.
You just, at the checkout, you choose whether you've got a high-paid job, whether you want to take the high ticket or the low ticket.
Oh my god, I love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
That's the kind of vibes we're going for.
Mate, I want to go there straight away.
I'm already getting like Duncan Trussell hippie vibes.
Yeah. Well, now we need a fucking camper van to fucking roll up in.
Yeah. That's the next stage.
That's the next stage.
We'll do a podcast from our camper van.
Mate, I've got a friend who owns a camper van. Maybe we can borrow it.
Do they use it?
I don't know. It's like he converted an AA van into like a camper van.
What?
Yeah, he like put a bed in it and everything. Put a bed in it, put a kitchen.
To like travel the world?
Yeah, pretty much.
A kitchen?
Yeah. It's literally like an old AA van, like Ford Transit or something like that.
Yeah.
Van. And he's like put a little like kitchen row in it. He's put like a bed in it, which like pull the doors open and you can pull the bed out and it's like the bed's like folded in on itself, so it's actually a double bed, but it looks like it's a single whilst it's in there.
Yeah.
And he's put like a row of like kitchen stuff in there, so like you can actually like heat up your coffee in the morning and shit like that.
Yeah.
It's like he put so much effort and so much money into fucking converting this AA van into like camper van. I feel like we might have to steal it.
And what was the aim? Is it just to take on holidays and stuff?
Well,
or?
he's really into cycling. He's really into cycling, so I think like the whole idea is him and his girlfriend go up to like Scotland and like do like fucking full weekend cycling Scottish Highlands and stuff like that. And like they don't have to like fucking buy a hotel or something. They can stay in the van and
So they can just drive the van up there, park up somewhere. They got somewhere to sleep, somewhere to cook, and then go on a 20-mile cycle ride.
Yeah. And like to be fair, like, and also like if you met the guy, like he'll be the first to admit as well, he didn't know anything about like actually like the electrical side of things and like the actual work that really goes into like converting an actual AA van into a camper van kind of thing. He's just like YouTube tutorial it all the way and just hoping it doesn't burn down halfway through while he's working it.
Cool.
To be fair, it looks amazing. It looks amazing, just from pictures he shared and stuff like that.
Would you prefer a hotel?
I prefer a hotel. I prefer a hotel. Definitely.
But some people love that side of it. Some people love like the...
Mate, if you were doing it for a festival or something like that, I can completely see the vibe of like rolling up in a fucking camper van and spending a whole weekend there in a fucking van. I suppose it's how homely you make the van, but I'd still rather a fucking double bed in a hotel suite.
Yeah.
Myself.
Were you ever one for like, as a kid, did you go on like caravan holidays and stuff?
Yeah. I went on most of my holidays as a kid were caravan holidays.
Yeah? Where'd you go?
Great Yarmouth.
I've never been there.
Oh, no, Great Yarmouth. It's great. It's great.
Very high pitched there.
It's like a stereotypical British seaside resort, really, to be honest, mate.
Yeah.
It was great.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, I don't know, like, caravan holidays they're good, but I can't...
Do you go down there and you hire out a caravan?
Yeah. It's like in a caravan park and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So it's like pontins and shit like that.
Yeah.
I can't even remember the ones that we did, but like most of them, like I remember back now, they're probably grimy as fuck. Like it's probably like really fucking rotten kind of vibes. Like I'm not sure I'd really want to do that again.
What, caravans?
Yeah. I don't know.
Do you have a bad experience then?
No, like I'm just kind of like imagining it back, like just the whole vibe of the whole place and different places I've been to.
I'm just remembering the In-Betweeners episode
Yeah,
where they go to Jay's
that's kind of like
family's place.
yeah, the kind of vibes I kind of remember. To be honest.
Is that what it was like?
It's a bit grim. That was great. It's free on holiday, and as a kid, you don't know any better. But
was it like a hall and you had a disco at night and stuff?
yeah.
Like that?
Oh my god! Absolutely yes.
Was it?
Yes. But no.
I want to know more about this. Tell me more.
No. They're just cringy as fuck. Like that was just the vibe. Yeah.
Are you like just talking to like other families there and being like,
Yeah,
hey,
yeah. Like your dad.
you come here often?
Your dad would always make friends with another like random dad in there.
Dads make friends with dads.
Yeah.
The mums make friends with the mums.
Yeah. And then you're just like sat there chilling with the kids. And like be some fucking weird kid, like fucking got brain damage or something. Like
Always a weird one.
yeah.
Always a big weird one. Don't want to talk to him too much. Any crushes back then?
Oh mate, the amount of like caravan crushes I've had. Yeah. Jesus, yeah. Like fucking in a little like awkward discos where you like walk up and you're like, I like you. Do you like me? Do you want to dance? Like,
You were 18 at the time, right? How old were you?
like fucking 10.
Yeah.
Like very young.
Yeah.
But I had some weird like caravan holidays as a kid. I don't entirely know why we went where we went.
And did you just keep going back to Yarmouth all the time?
No, we went different places. Like Yarmouth was one we went back a few times, but like we also went like did one in Dorset. We like just a few different places. Camber Sands is one I remember. That was a really bad one. I feel like
Camber Sands. I feel like I've been there.
I feel like that was
That's in Kent, right?
I think so.
Yeah.
I think that was a holiday that ended in a massive family row.
That is a really nice beach.
Yeah.
Camber Sands, yeah.
Yeah, I don't have great memories of that holiday.
Because it was a family round.
Like I feel like for some reason my dad like drove us back early.
It was one of those.
It was one of those where you're just like no, done. We're going home.
Yeah. That's hilarious.
Like handing in
Because
the keys at the reception.
Because of you kids, or?
Oh, I don't remember.
Yeah.
There's probably a lot of everything. There was probably a divorce happening in the mix at somewhere.
Yeah.
Right.
Throw that in there.
Yeah.
But we'll take a holiday to Canberra Sands.
Yeah, we just solve all of our problems. Yeah, fucking weird. It's weird, like the fucking random memories that hit here. But yeah, where did you go on holiday?
Florida.
Fuck you.
Disney World.
All right, mate.
But your caravan sounds fun.
Yeah, mate. Fucking
Yarmouth and all that.
different upbringings and all that.
How the other half live.
Jesus Christ.
But we met eventually.
We may eventually.
Our love of psychedelics.
And soon we'll be going to a caravan park near you.
Wow.
Who's your favourite superhero?
So, I guess it's from as a kid, what I grew up with and what I was watching the most was Spider-Man,
Okay. Top choice.
Batman,
My man.
and I was a big X-Men fan.
Really?
Yeah. I love the X-Men cartoons and everything.
Interesting.
And Wolverine especially
Yeah.
was the one that, yeah.
To be fair, Wolverine's cool as fuck.
Yeah.
Is there a better Wolverine than Hugh Jackman? Will there ever be a better Wolverine than Hugh Jackman?
I can't imagine anybody ever doing that role.
No.
I don't even think... It's not like a James Bond where you just keep having different people. I just can't imagine anybody else as him.
Yeah. It would feel wrong.
Hugh Jackman is Wolverine.
I feel like...
He's done it so well. And he's done it for so long. It was like 20 years ago.
Yeah.
When was the first X-Men film? Like 2000?
2000. Yeah.
21 years ago.
Yeah.
And when was the last Logan film? It was like 2017 or something.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
That's longevity in a fucking role if I've ever seen it.
When he signed up to do the first one, do you think he was like... Do you think he
Did
saw,
not
in
imagine
17 years, I'm still going to be playing this same character.
Like another script on his fucking desk. Like, oh, fucking hell. That Patrick Stewart again.
Yeah. And him as well.
Mate.
Doing
Yeah.
Professor X.
Yeah, exactly. But, so, if you had to pick an actor to be Wolverine to take up the mantle, out of all...
No one. Retire it. He's done.
No? You just, no actor.
No,
you
there
think
will
of-
have to be somebody because it's such
Right.
an iconic character.
If you had to
And
pick
he's such a fucking badass.
any actor around right now, who would you pick to be Wolverine?
Tom Hardy.
Tom Hardy. Tom Hardy would be a sick Wolverine.
Just because that's the first name that came into my head.
Yeah, but you know he'd bring that kind of like Bane kind of vibe of like
That's what I'm
being
thinking.
fucking hench and being
He
scary as
would
fuck.
get into fucking shape for that role.
Yeah.
Yeah, if he needs to pump the steroids in and, you know.
And I can imagine Tom Hardy being like fucking half wolf as well, like fucking...
Because he's got that aggressiveness about him,
Yeah.
I think.
That's a fucking great shout.
Tom Hardy's such a weird one, though, because I always think he'd be a great James Bond as well.
Yeah.
But we're talking about him being like this rough character and all this stuff.
Mate, I think that's...
On the other side, I think he can dress up in a tux and fucking woo
I
the
think
women.
mate, that's a sign of a great fucking actor.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, Leonardo DiCaprio is exactly the same. You know, you can imagine him being fucking drug addicts, fucking falling all over the floor in front of a white Lamborghini 1 minute and then fucking fighting a bear the next.
Yeah.
Like,
About 300 years ago.
yeah.
Yeah, he's amazing.
Right.
So,
alright, so. X-Men were your favourite superheroes when you were kids?
I think so.
Okay.
Can you call them superheroes?
Mutants, like, yeah.
There's a grey area.
So, what's your favourite superhero movie?
So, I've only just started watching the Marvel ones recently, as you know.
Yeah.
So I've got a new kind of appreciation for all of that, in that universe.
You're very fucking late to the party.
Very
there,
late to the
mate.
party. I feel like I got in just in time. I feel like another 2 years down the line, I would have just been lost.
It's still late for me to rip the shit out of you for it, though.
Yeah, because I had like 20 films to catch up on. But in 2 years' time, there's going to be like 40 films to catch up on.
And to be fair, that's quite a nice little pandemic project of like catching up with it on every Marvel movie.
That was the thing. It was just because I was over Christmas, the Christmas break. Didn't have work for a week. I was like, fuck it, I'll get a Disney Plus subscription.
Why the fuck not?
There's lockdown, there's Christmas. Yeah. All my fucking mates love Marvel films. You talk about them all the time. People talk about them. I think, okay, I'll actually give them a try.
To be fair, you have always been that one person who's just like,
I didn't like it.
just really annoying. Just like, you'd
I
like
don't know
them.
if I was just
I
doing
know
it to be
you'd-
contrarian.
Yeah,
Because I am like that sometimes. Like if somebody likes something, I will kind of try and pick it apart.
The thing is, like, they're exactly the kind of thing you would like. And like, to be fair, like early Marvel, I can kind of understand. Like for the Dark World, for instance, bit fucking dry, you know. So like some of the Captain Americas, if you jumped in one of the Captain Americas a bit later and didn't see the first one, for instance, can you imagine that being a bit fucking of a ball ache to catch up on? But there's everything you should fucking like in a film, in a Marvel film. You're just being a bit of a cunt, really.
Yeah, I just didn't. I didn't think they'd be as good as they were.
Yeah.
I just didn't think they'd be as good as they are. And I feel like I've seen bits here and there of different films, and I've thought, oh, they're not all that.
Yeah.
But once you put it into the context of the whole universe and all the films sewn up together,
Just
and
what a
everything
fu-
relates to each other, and at the ending of this one ties in with the start of this one, and
It's just what a fucking project.
yeah,
Like, did you know this,
that's what I
right?
can't wrap my head around.
Here's an amazing fucking piece of trivia I know, which I found out recently, which I found fucking fascinating. The first Iron Man film was essentially came about because Hasbro or whoever it was, some toy manufacturer, needed to make toys. And they didn't know, they had rights to Marvel, but they didn't know which, like, I don't know, which character to make. They couldn't make Spider-Man, they couldn't make X-Men, you know, whatever. And they're like, essentially they're like, let's go for Iron Man. And they took it to a group of kids, and a group of kids were just like, yeah, Iron Man's really cool, we like the Iron Man toy. And so they decided to like chuck fucking money into a film to make a single Iron Man film to sell the toys. The film was essentially meant not to start a whole new franchise, but essentially used as a vehicle to sell toys that year.
Yeah.
And make Iron Man the new, you know, superhero that everyone wants. And that fucking test audience with a bunch of kids saying Iron Man is the coolest toy in the room is essentially what's kick-started the whole of the MCU.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Because this is the thing, they didn't have the rights over the X-Men are probably like one of Marvel's biggest and best like properties, so they didn't have the rights over that. Spider-Man's obviously the biggest and best Marvel has to offer. Didn't have the rights over that. What else? Fantastic Four have been fucked over brutally in a few films.
Yeah.
Like, brutally.
Yeah. I feel like they were really bad.
Devastatingly bad. Like, gave nothing to the source material whatsoever.
Yeah.
And, you know, but the first film was all just a market ploy to sell toys. And this is why Robert Downey Jr. was fucking employed in the role. Like, there was virtually no budget for the first film. It was virtually they thought it wasn't going to go anywhere. It was all about the toy sales. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh, hold on, we've got a fucking multi-million-pound fucking film on our hands here.
Robert Downey Jr. cast as Iron Man.
The best casting going.
Yeah.
The best casting.
Would you even... He is Iron Man.
Yeah, exactly.
It's funny, he modelled his character, I think, on Elon Musk. I think he spoke about that in the past.
That's
like
awesome to
that
know.
tech billionaire, entrepreneur who's into like gadgets and all that shit.
I can imagine that.
And Elon Musk actually appeared in Iron Man 2.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
It's that little cameo.
yeah. But no, like, it's also mad because if you think about how big Marvel has become as well, like Marvel wouldn't have given an actor like Robert Downey Jr. the opportunity to have Iron Man, because like Robert Downey Jr., no one was casting him. Like he came off the back of addiction. He was fucking on his ass. No one was hiring him. Like fucking he had, oh, what's his name, the Braveheart actor, fucking
Mel Gibson.
Yeah, Mel Gibson was the one that like dragged Robert Downey Jr. into sobriety.
Really?
Yeah,
didn't
now
know
if you got Mel Gibson dragging you into sobriety, you got a bit of a problem. Like, yeah, Robert Downey Jr. has always cited Mel Gibson as the one to get him sober.
Wow.
I'm pretty sure Mel Gibson was done for drunk driving a few years ago. So,
This is all.
but
Mel Gibson always seems like a weird guy
yeah,
when he's been interviewed.
yeah, I think he's like a really like hyper religious guy.
Is he Scientologist?
Yeah, I don't know, but like it wouldn't surprise me if he was. But no, but yeah, and you think about what Marvel Studios is now. They wouldn't have hired an actor like Robert Downey Jr. You look at every hire they've made recently and stuff like that. Like, don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong with them. They're picking up the biggest and best actors available in the roles, but they wouldn't have taken a chance on an actor like Robert Downey Jr. But Robert Downey Jr. is Iron Man. Full
100%.
stop. Full stop. And to be fair, he's made Iron Man cool again. Like, I remember as a kid watching fucking like Spider-Man or like Avengers fucking cartoon shows and shit like that, and like Iron Man would pop up every now and again, but like he was always that fucking bit part player.
Yeah, no one gave a fuck about Iron Man.
Yeah, exactly.
What's he up to? His tin suit.
I never read many of like Marvel comics, like the actual comics. I used to read a lot of DC, a lot of Batman comics. But
See, I've never read any like comics or anything.
I got really into Batman comics. The thing is, I find it's really difficult in the UK. I think in
To
America,
be a fan of the comics.
yeah, in America, it's okay as an adult in the UK because you can buy different editions and stuff like that.
Because you got money.
Yeah, but as a kid, like trying to buy comics, I bought a comic, really liked it, went to WH Smith the next week, couldn't find the next edition of the comic.
Yeah.
Do you get what I mean? Like you couldn't really follow it, so you were essentially you're buying them wherever they were available, and they were coming completely out of order and all this sort of stuff.
Are they updated like weekly, monthly? Like how often do they release
So
new editions?
the ones which I would buy were like they're almost like mini anthology ones.
Yeah.
So like you probably buy like half of a series or a quarter of a series, if you get what I mean.
Right.
And then like there were like, I know, 5-10 different more editions to buy
Yeah.
of it. And it's like, but I know I wasn't buying I know they were available on a lot more weekly individual basis,
Yeah.
if you get what I mean. But like they weren't available where I was, if you get what I mean. I was just buying whatever Batman comics I could buy.
So Batman was your thing.
Yeah. I was just reading. I mean, to be honest, and also like the Batman timelines, like, as with any comic book timeline, they like fly from one timeline to another one. So like, just because they've got,
That's always what I thought. Like, how do you keep up with what's
yeah, and
what world and what
like
timeline?
the buyer for WH Smiths in your local town don't know what Batman comic they're buying from the next. They're just they see Batman comic and click buy, you know.
Yeah.
Like, so you invest yourself in one story and then it dies, and then you pick up another one and it starts somewhere else, and you know it ends abruptly and then you never pick it up again.
Yeah.
I mean, then as an adult, when you're like actually interested in it, you can go back and be like, you know, and like I've done that a few times where like the Dark Knight trilogy, for instance, the comics that was based on. I went back and reread those and stuff. And that's like fascinating. Like that's really interesting to reread.
How do the comics differ from the films?
Right, they're very different because it's not like a word for word or a play for play or anything like that.
Say that Say Christopher Nolan's trilogy.
It's the Christopher Nolan trilogy is in the same continuity as like these Batman comics. They follow the same kind of timeline, and same kind of storyline, but what Christopher Nolan did with the films was entirely Christopher Nolan's films, if you get what I mean.
Yeah, so that was his own vision.
Yeah. But the one thing...
But was he, like, the storyline from those films, was that in the comics?
Yeah.
Or was that...
Yeah.
Okay.
But
so
you don't, like... Yeah, but you don't have... it. Right, there are bits which are and bits which aren't. So, for instance, the boat situation, for instance, that's not in the comics. But the general... Yeah, no, the stories generally follow the same as the comics.
Yeah.
But, like, it's not, like, play for play. Like, for instance, the boat situation, as far as I can recall, wasn't in the comics. That was entirely, like, brought about by Christopher Nolan.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. But yeah, like, for instance, the Joker, like, the whole way the Joker is portrayed. In the Batman comics, there's a Batman comic called The Laughing Joke.
Yeah.
Which is a very, very, very good sort of Joker versus Batman kind of comic. It's a very recent one. And
What do you mean recent?
Within the last 10 years, I would say. So
after the films.
Yeah. And I would say that's probably the best portrayal of a Joker versus Batman situation. And there's the one, so obviously Batman has always said that, like, it's Batman's thing that he will never kill. That's his whole mantra. He just, like, he's definitely killed people before, but he will never kill someone at his own hand and purposely do it. And he's avoided killing the Joker before and stuff like that. And spoilers, but the Laughing Joke is essentially when him and Joker come virtually at a head-to-head, and like the very last page of it is set in silhouette, and there's a gunshot that goes off, and you don't know whether the Batman or Joker's pulled it, but the Joker's dead at the end of it. And it's like this just absolutely harrowing kind of thing, because the Joker has finally pulled off his greatest scheme of, like, underwriting the Batman as a character. You know, Batman's whole morality was that he would not murder, and the Joker's whole point would be like the Joker and Batman were always fighting for Gotham's soul. They were always fighting for the soul of Gotham. The Joker believed that soul was in chaos and was always meant to be given up to chaos. Batman always felt like the soul was rescuable, but through force, through fucking hitting it with a harder hammer. And that in itself is a very flawed method of trying to, like, save a city and trying to, like, pick a city up, you know, especially when you're a fucking billionaire, mate.
Yeah.
But, whereas, and the Batman always used to hold himself to this morality of, like, I wouldn't kill people. You know, he had the League of Shadows training. You know, he trained with Ra's al Ghul. He's, you know, fucking trained assassin in the Himalayas.
Yeah.
And he's fought against countless different enemies, but he would never kill them. The Killing Joke.
Yeah.
It never gives you a conclusive.
It never actually tells you.
Never tells you whether he pulled the trigger, but the Joker's dead at the end of it, and Batman and the Joker had their hand on the gun. And it's in silhouette, and it's...
Could the Joker have done it himself?
Well, it's the famous thing, the Killing Joke. It's like the whole... That last frame is in the name of the graphic novel.
Yeah.
You know, did he kill himself? Didn't he? Like, what? Like,
You'll
never know.
Up for interpretation.
Yeah, I think probably Batman did kill him.
Oh.
And I think that is a Killing Joke.
Controversial.
Because it's Joker's last laugh. Because Joker is the best antagonist that has ever been written into fiction ever, in my opinion.
Ever.
And that is because he is the complete antithesis to what Batman stands for as a character.
Yeah.
You know, and I don't think in fiction you will ever find an anti-hero as perfect to the hero as the Joker is to Batman. You know, Batman is all order, he is all money, he is all wealth, he's all trying to rescue stability, but he knows that what he's fighting for is corrupt. He knows that he is fighting on the losing side. He knows that if anything, he doesn't really believe in what he's fighting for. But he knows he's got to fight for it. The Joker, on the other hand, believes entirely in what he's fighting for. Chaos.
That is his game, right? Just to bring chaos.
He sees it left, right, and centre. He's saying we're all fucking animals. Just let us be. Let us be animals. You know, there's a lot of what, especially when you get into the comics and you kind of read a lot of like the Joker's manuscripts and stuff like that. Not manuscripts, but like he's like the shit he preaches when he's like chatting to Batman and shit like that. But like when you read that kind of shit, you can kind of, he's a far more sympathetic anti-hero, sympathetic villain, sorry, than anything else. He just sees how ruined society is around us. And he'd rather just take a flame to it. You know, he thinks it's beyond repair. And we are all inherently bad. And we're all inherently chaos. We're all inherently psychotic. You know, and we're all one big fucking joke. And Batman's just there with a load of money and a load of big fucking toys trying to like fucking fight to bring some order to the situation.
Yeah.
If you look at it in that respect, Batman's fucking outgunned. You know. Bane is another great enemy to Batman.
Yeah, I was never that convinced by him.
So in the graphic novels, I can't remember exactly what graphic novel it was, but he broke Batman's back, and they brought that into the film. But that was like a big moment in the novels when it was kind of like he broke the Batman to the point, like, because Batman at this point was, you know, no one could beat him, no one could get hold of him. You know, he was kind of like every battle he was going against, he was coming out on top of. And when Bane kind of got involved, he broke, like, Bane has become a better villain over time, if you get what I mean. But when Bane kind of broke Batman's back, that was kind of a very big moment where everyone was just like, oh, hold on a second. Yeah.
Batman is still definitely your favourite, I can tell.
I love it. Yeah, I love Batman. I think I would be really interested to see a Batman versus Joaquin Phoenix's Joker. Because I think also, like, Joker's one of the most difficult characters to play in a film.
Yeah, so I've been watching the ones recently with Jared Leto.
Yeah.
Leto. And yeah, it's not as good as Heath Ledger. And
No, without a doubt. Like, no, don't get me wrong. Right, Jack Nicholson was a great Joker. But Heath Ledger took that and made it, just took it and ran with it.
Made it raw and real and gritty.
And made it so fucking believable.
Yeah.
Now, there was always going to be whoever played the Joker between Heath Ledger and the actor after it was always going to bomb.
Yeah.
But Jared Leto, it looked devastating in comparison to Heath Ledger. I'm sorry, like, and the fact that he like he would send fucking used condoms to Margot Robbie to try and get in character and stuff like that. And you're just doing that for fucking press, you know? Like, you don't you're not trying method act the way Heath Ledger did, fucking overdosing on sleeping pills and shit like that at the time you're doing it, and fucking giving yourself a psychotic break whilst you're fucking doing it. You know, don't try and play at that shit. Like, the man actually died doing that shit.
Yeah.
You know.
He's supposed to be a bit of a dickhead in real life, anyway.
Yeah, Jared Leto's a bit of a cunt.
Lots of people talk about him as he's like arrogant and all this.
Great actor in certain things. Like, certain roles, he's an amazing actor, but he's just...
Not with the Joker.
No. You could tell he just saw his opportunities to almost like transcend Heath Ledger's Joker, and he just came up so fucking short. Whereas you compare that to Joaquin Phoenix.
Yeah. See, after watching Heath Ledger, I was like, who can ever do the Joker like him?
Yeah. Joaquin Phoenix took it and made it so brutal.
Yeah.
And so, like, day-to-day life of, like, you know,
Just
like...
grinding you down. And...
Yeah, the psychotic break. Like, I felt my own fucking mental state breaking whilst I'm fucking watching that film. Like, you know.
Yeah.
Fucking, I watched that whilst did fucking smoked a few spliffs before I went into the cinema. I've seen it like 4 times in the cinema. And one of them,
Really?
Yeah.
That's dedication.
I really loved it. I saw it like quite a few times. And one of the times was with my sister and her boyfriend at the time, and he was quite a weed smoker. And so we like smoked a few spliffs before we went in there. Like really fucking, he was a big weed smoker, and he like rolled me a spliff on my own.
Good guy.
So we fucking bombing it.
You have your own.
My own spliff. Like he was that kind of guy who just roll you
Not
your
even
own
share,
spliff.
just your own one.
Yeah.
Wow. That's hardcore.
Yeah. And like his shit was always good. Always good shit. I don't know where he got it from, but fuck me. Put me to sleep. But like,
you got really high before watching the Joker.
And I remember sitting there in the cinema being like, am I mad? like, is this me? Am I psychotic? like,
because his performance.
That's it. Like, it's just so fucking believable.
Yeah.
You can imagine yourself going through what he's going through, and he's like, fucking when you're fucking high off your fucking tits. That's not the sort of film you want to be watching. But
that's a film that I didn't watch until like a few years after it was released.
Yeah.
It obviously got like amazing reviews and everything, but then other people, I heard reports saying, oh, you know, it wasn't as good as that, and it's depressing and all that. So I just kind of felt, not that bothered then. I watched it, I think, last year, and I loved it. I was blown away.
Right.
I thought, this is incredible.
Mate, it's a 5-star film.
Yeah.
Without a doubt. 5-star film.
I thought, how can you not like this?
It deserves to be up there in comparison to the likes of Pulp Fiction. In my mind. You know. I think it's fucking a masterclass in cinema. And storytelling. I don't think they should ever... I would love to see a Batman put on top of it, and see that Joker face off against a Batman, and a very real rough kind of Batman, like almost everyday Batman kind of situation. I'd love to see that, but I think that would take away from the film.
Yeah.
And I
just
think
as a standalone.
Yeah, we're missing too much of that in modern day media. Generally, that standalone piece of like, this is an amazing film. It doesn't need a sequel. It doesn't need a fucking follow up. It doesn't need this or that, you know. And to take a
like, is he going to be doing the Joker any more times?
no,
or is that just a one and done
I believe
thing?
it was just the one off. But
What a legacy to have, like, just that performance.
That's we need more films like that, especially like villain films. Like, I think a villain is just as exciting as a story as a hero.
More so.
I'm
more
not,
so. I've always been more attracted to villains than the superheroes.
Yeah, and I'm not talking about the fucking Harley Quinn films of like, where it's like, oh, we'll take this like really horrible
turn her into a
villain
good person,
and turn him into a good person, and you actually like him now, and you know, it's bullshit. No, Harley Quinn was always this demented fuck. You know? Like, and that was what was great about her. She was just a demented fuck. She would just like fucking torture you,
just doing everything to get the Joker's Joker's applause.
Yeah, Like, and that's what made her a really fucking great character. She was fucking, like, she had no filter. She was demented.
Yeah.
Like, she was a fucking criminal psychologist sent nuts by the Joker. The Joker cracked her and she'd just gone nuts. You know, that's amazing. It's a great fucking story. I love to hear that proper story as opposed to the, you know, oh, Harley Quinn's now this relatable actual hero.
Yeah, so I haven't seen those films. The Birds
It's
of Prey,
bullshit.
is it?
Yeah, the bullshit.
Have they just made her into a hero now?
Yeah, it's bullshit. It's got nothing to do with Harley Quinn as a character.
Yeah.
You know, like, don't get me wrong. Like,
How can they get it? See, DC is such a weird one. They can put something like the Joker out.
Well, yeah, but Joker is not DC
No.
as a, like, studio.
Yeah.
And this is the thing. DC it's like with any fucking major corporation, especially movie studios. Too many fucking, I don't know, people involved cutting and, like, shaping what a film should be. And saying, I want it to be this, I want it to be that. Oh, this is going to sell, that's going to sell. Oh, Marvel are doing this, you should do that as well. Instead of actually saying, you know, like what Marvel has had.
It always looks like they're looking over the other direction at Marvel
Exactly.
and going, oh, they're doing this now.
Exactly.
We should do that.
What Marvel
They're having a
have had-
civil war. Batman versus Superman.
What Marvel have done great is Marvel have had the Russo brothers involved. And it's been pretty much like their vision throughout. Or they've been like one of the main driving forces throughout.
Yeah.
Even when you have people like James Gunn who did like Guardians of the Galaxy and stuff like that. The
best ones.
Russo brothers were still like executive producers or whatever they were involved in it. You know, it was one clear, legitimate, linear narrative and vision. DC don't have that. It's a studio vision. It's like, let's try and be Marvel. Well, no. You know, you DC Comics were never competing with Marvel because they were like that. Like, DC heroes were never as good as the Marvel heroes. They were just always, like you say, they were darker. You know, they were that much grimier. They were, you know, like, the Chris Nolan Batman films are the best superhero films in my mind. For a very good fucking reason. It's because they were dark and they were gritty and they went to the sort of places that Marvel never could possibly go. Why the fuck don't we have a whole extended universe of that shit? Like 18 rated fucking superhero movies.
The Nolan films were 18 rated though, are they?
Huh?
The Nolan ones weren't 18. I don't think.
No, fair. But
But
like,
they were
dark
more.
and
They were a
gritty.
lot. Yeah. And like the Marvel films being Disney owned and everything,
Yeah.
they can't. There's a level they can get to. They wouldn't be able to be too violent and too, you know.
I'd like to see an 18 rated superhero comic book franchise, like movie franchise.
Yeah,
That would be really cool.
it'd be cool, but it doesn't make the billions. Got to sell to the kids.
That's the thing. It's a problem. Batman's not cool if he's fucking stamping on people's heads.
How are you feeling about Robert Pattinson as the next Batman?
Now, I have mixed views because I have seen Robert Pattinson. The name immediately brings Twilight.
You just cringe.
Yeah, you cringe. But I have seen Robert Pattinson in a few films recently where he has been fucking outstanding as an actor. And it kind of makes me think, yeah, you know, maybe I shouldn't judge him at the Twilight shit. Maybe actually he is a really fucking good actor. He's just not really been given, you know. He was in Tenet recently. I watched him in Tenet. Fuck me, is he good in Tenet?
Was he good in that? Okay.
Amazing. I love that film generally. Like, fucking won't shut up about that film. I won't watch it again. But he's so good in it. Now, I can imagine if he's pulling off the Batman character and he's like trying to be quite militant about it, but he's not the biggest guy, he's not the strongest guy, but he's got to rely on his money, he's got to rely on his resources, and he's constantly trying to like counterbalance his own shortcomings by buying his way out of it or training his way out of it. And his shortcomings are blatantly obvious for others to see, and they're being like abused because others are like smarter and than he is, like his supervillains, for instance. And he's got to like overcome that. I can imagine that being really good. If it's like character driven, I can imagine it being amazing. If it's just like a Ben Affleck Batman, it's going to be dog shite.
Because the thing is, you wouldn't be able to buy him as like this big guy who's beating everyone up all the time, and just like it's got to be more about
it's got to be character driven.
Yeah,
and he's got to be he's using his money to buy himself out of the situation or buy himself into the situation.
I mean, I've seen the trailer and I'm really excited by it.
Yeah, it looks really good, really good.
But I know I've got people who just are completely turned off by the idea of him being a Batman.
Because
they just think of Twilight.
Yeah, but
but he's supposed to be a really good actor.
Yeah, you look at like countless films that he's been in, like since
Apparently,
Twilight.
I think Twilight is something he really regrets. I think I've heard that he regrets that because he's typecast.
It's like defined him.
Assume that is him.
But
It made him a millionaire, but
but he's
people don't really take him seriously as an actor.
Great actor, genuinely great actor. Like you don't see this like heartthrob teenage kid when you watch him in the film. Like Tenet is the best example because I've watched that most recently, which has had him in it. Like at no point did I think I'm watching a teenage vampire in front of me. Do you get what I mean? You're just completely sold on him in that position, him in that role. So,
what did you think of Ben Affleck as a Batman?
Right, Ben Affleck is a fucking fan of the comics, fanboy who took the role too seriously and tried to give absolute fan service to the role and fucked it up. He couldn't do right from wrong, to be honest. Now, Ben Affleck and Matt Damon were both mates growing up, and they were both comic book nuts. And they're both they're also friends with Kevin Smith as well. And they're all in that same like group of friends, and like all very successful people now. And they're all fucking bunch of nerds. And you can just tell that Ben Affleck took the opportunity to be Batman and make a Batman movie and run with it because he's Ben Affleck, because he's got that reputation, and he's a nerd. And he just didn't know what to do with it. Like, I think he had every idea and every intention to make it great, but everything he added into the situation made it worse, because you've got people like Zack Snyder trying to make an image out of it. You have people like, like just the studio themselves trying to make an image out of it. And him trying to, like he's a great director. Like, he directed Argo. Fucking incredible film. Great director, great actor, great writer, and I think it's one of those too many cooks spoil the broth kind of thing. I think, he was too invested in the role.
Do you think following Christian Bale was a tough act to follow as well?
Absolutely.
Because he was really good.
Christian Bale was Batman. Funnily enough, though...
I love Christian Bale as an actor. I think he's so good.
Oh, mate. Talk about an actor who gives themselves to the role, like 100%. Like ridiculously so.
Yeah. To the point of his health and...
Funnily enough, though, I would tie Heath Ledger with Joker closer to the character and make it harder to top than Christian Bale with Batman. I think Christian Bale with Batman is easier to top than Heath Ledger with Joker.
Yeah.
Because I think Batman's not that difficult to act as a character.
No.
Do you get what I mean?
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean, yeah.
Yeah.
Because the Joker, you're going to range of emotions and all this kind of stuff you have to pull off, and
yeah.
So you really
you need to sell people on that role.
Yeah, you really throw yourself into that role.
Yeah, you need to be fucking psychotic, and everyone believes you're psychotic. Completely.
Batman, I suppose you're more kind of reserved and...
You're James Bond.
Yeah.
You know, Tom Hardy could be Batman. Tom Hiddleston could be Batman. Idris Elba could be Batman. You know, same people that are being involved in the James Bond conversation. None of them could be the Joker.
Yeah.
Tom Hardy could potentially be the Joker.
He can do anything, but yeah.
Have you seen Tom Hardy play Charles Manson? Not Charles Manson, Charles Bronson.
No.
That's a great film. Definitely worth going. Like,
So that's another thing. Like, he bulked up for that and like really got into.
So what I found really interesting is a lot of like what his roles that he played. So he did Reggie and Ronnie Cray for Legend. So much of that looked very similar to what he was doing for Charles Bronson. Like, you can see so many of the similarities between them too. But he sat down with Charles Bronson and actually like met him and like had conversations with him and like.
What, in prison?
Yeah, and just fucking got to know this fucking lunatic, that like legend of a lunatic, you know.
But an absolute lunatic.
Yeah, and like if you look at footage of Charles Bronson and you compare it to footage of Tom Hardy playing Charles Bronson, it's so fucking similar. But he then brought that through into like Reggie and Ronnie Cray in Legend. Because it's like that kind of like East End, that like, oh man, oh that kind of nutter kind of vibe. But then gave them their own like, own little twist on it, which just like how he, like the subtlety in it. To like take one character which like, obviously given the inspiration between the two and obviously got you the job to be between the two, and then telling a subtlety sort of character to essentially take one character and make them two. And then make them be able to stand there in a scene and have a conversation with each other. Like, can you imagine the fucking talent that would require?
Yeah. Just even thinking about it, that's crazy.
Yeah. You gotta have a screw loose somewhere to even try to attempt to pull that off.
He's an incredible actor.
Yeah.
It's okay, so he's going to be the next Wolverine, the next James Bond.
And the next Joker.
The next Joker.
So,
I don't think I answered your question about my favourite superhero movie.
no, I don't think you did.
So I was going to say, I've watched all the Marvel recently, and they're amazing. And I love them. But I would still go back to the Dark Knight.
My man.
That's the thing. Like, I love all the Marvel stuff recently.
What out the trilogy?
I even I know DC films recently have got like a bad rep.
Yeah.
I'm really enjoying those at the moment. I'm going through
Right,
them.
they're entertaining.
Yeah.
They are entertaining.
But
the
I still
Harley
go
Quinn
back
one really
to that.
annoyed me recently, though. I'm sorry.
I haven't seen that.
Yeah, it's really pissed me off. Harley Quinn is not a hero. She's never been a hero. Don't make her a hero just because she's a marketable character.
Yeah.
Like, fuck me, that annoys me so much. Great, if you're going to make a film about Harley Quinn, great, make a film about Harley Quinn, but make her
do
a
it
fucking...
about her actually like psychotic episodes and all this.
Like, don't make her this fucking anti-hero. Just nothing heroic about Harley Quinn.
Yeah. But yeah, the Dark Knight.
Yeah.
Or Logan.
Logan is an amazing fucking film.
I watched that a few months ago
Modern
the
day
first
Western.
time. And I was blown away.
Mate. What a film. Like, I feel like it doesn't... For how good it is...
It doesn't really get spoken about these days.
Yeah. The
Dark Knight is always referenced. Like, people talk about, Dark Knight, that's a proper great film.
Yeah.
Logan, I don't really hear that in conversations.
There was a lot of fanfare.
Like it should be.
yeah, like it very much should be. There was a lot of fanfare when it came out. And I think everyone who saw it when it came out was like, Logan, 5 stars. Full stop, 5 stars. But why it isn't in that conversation, I do not know. Because it is a fantastic standalone film. I think one of the problems is Logan is soiled by the Batman legacy beforehand. Not Batman, the X-Men legacy beforehand. And the fact that it had like 5...
Because it had a few crappy
5
X-Men films.
Yeah, 5 shit X-Men films prior to it. And it's like, you know... Is it as good? Like, the Dark Knight trilogy, you can stand up on its own and say, yes, the Dark Knight is the best out of the 3 films, but all 3 films are amazing, and they stand on their own right. Logan, you stand it up and it's like, yeah, but it's part of it. It's part of a whole series, and the whole series was pretty shit, really.
Yeah.
You know, on the
you-
whole, the X-Men series is a pathetic attempt to pull off one of the best written fucking stories in comic book history. Come on. You know,
I don't know. Like, I haven't seen all the X-Men films. I haven't seen the latest ones. I think you told me that. They're
mate,
really
Dark
bad.
Phoenix. Don't
Yeah,
fucking bother.
I think you've told me that.
Don't
so I haven't
bother.
seen that one. But I can't remember the one that's like they go back in time to the 70s. It's pretty good.
Hey, it's all right.
It's nothing compared to like the Batman films and all that. But
Yeah, it's all right, but no, like the X-Men just has so much material to draw from. So much material. It is like one of the best written properties in comic book lore. Why the fuck are we producing shit show films? I hope that now that Marvel have got a hold of it, or Marvel Studios have got hold of it, they're going to make some sort of fucking sense out of the story, add something into their continuity, and make it legitimate.
so when is X-Men going to start appearing in the?
Right.
MCU.
I think there's going to need to be a leap of faith on Marvel fans' radars. I think the leap of faith in WandaVision, spoilers if anyone, whatever, but
Yeah, be careful.
yeah, where they changed the actor from the Fox
Oh,
Studios
yeah.
actor to a MCU actor,
Yeah.
or vice versa. That's a nice little mess with the continuity, and I think, yes, that's great within the WandaVision storyline generally, but I also do think that's a kind of little sign in advance of kind of like to weave in the X-Men lore into the MCU. There's going to be a few little continuity issues that we're just going to have to deal with, and we're just going to have to overlook as fans.
Yeah.
And I think if we're arseholes about it and make a fuss about it, like, we're not going to get decent films. You know, I don't know whether it's going to be brought in as a result of the blip, which could be great, but then also that doesn't allow anything for the timelines, because X-Men was built around, so much of it was built around the timelines. You know, it's essentially an analogy for the Cold War, you know. So, like, and that's great storytelling within it, and that should be brought into it. But like, if you have like Professor Xavier as an old man in a wheelchair, for instance, suddenly appear in the MCU as it currently is, like where the fuck where have all the mutants been?
Yeah.
You know, so there needs to be a little bit
That's
of a
the question. How would you?
Yeah. Now the blip, which is
They've just been watching everything go on.
Yeah.
They don't want to get involved.
now people are theorizing.
I suppose you can say that they didn't want to get involved because they knew that they'd be chastised and all that kind
Yeah.
of thing. But
There's now people are theorizing that the blip when Thanos when they brought people back after 5 years.
spoilers.
So
This was news to me up to 3 months ago.
when they brought people back after 5 years, that's when the mutant abilities started settling in. Now that I can buy as a story, but how that fits into the general continuity and how you can then build the X-Men off the back of that, I do not know, because the X-Men are meant to be an institution.
Yeah.
They're meant to be long-rooted and, like, you know... It's like Fantastic Four as well. Fantastic Four need to be written into the MCU. They're going to be a major part of the MCU. Like, I guarantee you within, like, 10 years... not 10 years, but, like, in a few years' time, you're going to have, like, a Fantastic Four movie, which is going to be on the same scale as, like, an Avengers movie. You know...
I feel like I look at Fantastic Four and I just think, meh.
Yeah, but in the comics, but in the comics, they were
what the films they've done so far have been pretty shit.
exactly films so far have been dog shite. But within
So
the comics,
I hear the words Fantastic Four and I'm just like, eh.
but they were some of the biggest comics, like comic heroes. Like they were one of the best selling properties, as big as X-Men, essentially. You know, and so now that the MCU has rights over that, how are they actually going to bring Fantastic Four into it? You know, they've got to bring it into it. There's so much story that they can bring into it, which just adds a wealth of information. It's just about, it's doing what Marvel does best. It's just taking its time and writing one story at a time, and just weaving a little bit here, a little bit there, a little bit here, a little bit there, and then bringing it through together. And then before you know it, you've got a fucking Fantastic Four meets X-Men meets Avengers film happening, whilst they're fighting some fucking black hole. Do you get what I mean?
Yeah.
You know?
I just love how superheroes have become just like this main.
Oh, mate, right. One thing, there's one scene in Avengers Endgame which I think doesn't get enough credit.
Okay.
And for me, epitomizes the superhero genre. I'm going to get real fucking ball achy on you. You're going to fucking cringe when I say this, but there's a scene when... So, Thanos has just arrived back on Earth, and this is like the young, fresh Thanos. He just bombed the Avengers compound, and Thor, Captain America, and Iron Man went down to face him, and he's beating the shit out of the three of them. And Thanos has just cut Captain America's shield in half. Now, there's this one scene where Captain America fastens his shield, and it's like half a shield onto his forearm, fastens it, and he walks across this ridge, and it's like craters everywhere. And Thanos is beaming down army after like battalion after battalion after battalion. The warships coming in all over the background, and Captain America looks around him, and there's no one there. Like, everyone's alone, and it's just him standing there with half a broken shield against this army of Thanos, and he's ready to go in for it. And that's when you first have in his ear Sam saying, "On your left," and when they start opening the portal. Now that, for me, that image of Captain America willing, fastening his foot shield and willing to go fight a fucking army on his own.
Yeah.
It's some of the most beautiful storytelling in fucking comic book, because that, like, I don't like Captain America as a hero. But that is Captain America as a hero.
Yeah.
That is entirely him. He's the arsehole that will still fucking keep on going when no one else will.
I've always thought of him a bit too much of a goody-goody for me to really get to grips with.
But you just know that he would be the one fighting to the very fucking end. And it's just a brilliant fucking scene. And it's like, that sort of detail. Like, I would love to see DC create a universe which brings in that kind of stuff with all the villains and all the lore and all the fucking comic book gold that they have to bring out. But I just can't see someone intelligent enough getting behind the reins and just driving it in the right direction. It's just studio driven.
Yeah.
Whereas Marvel, you can see the people who make Marvel films are just in it for the art. You can see the beauty behind it. And the studio, if anything, just let them get on with it, because it's making them a fucking cash cow left, right and centre, and they don't want to fuck with the formula. You know?
You know, over the next few years, there's going to be an extra, 10 films and 7 TV shows.
Bruv.
And now they're bringing TV shows into it.
Right, I guarantee you, back when we're old men in the future, we're going to be
On
sitting to our on shrooms, talking to our grandkids about Marvel films, about how amazing they were and stuff like that, and about how this was a peak of cinema.
Really?
I don't think nothing in I don't think there's anything being attempted on the scale that Marvel's tried to do in cinema.
No.
You know,
It could still be going on.
that's the thing. That's the thing.
Could be 200 films in by then.
Yeah, exactly. And not losing quality. If anything, gaining quality.
Yeah.
That's like the crucial part.
They gained quality.
Yeah.
Definitely. From phase 1 to
Yeah. So, you know, the sheer scope and size of it Like, can anything compete with it? Can anything take it on? And like, the thing is, like, you have people like there was like a mummy film with Tom Cruise in it, which was meant to be the Dark Universe or something like that, and they're going to bring like a vampire Dracula to it and all this sort of stuff, and then try and make a dark universe of like Halloween monsters of all sorts of films stuff. And it's just like studios just try and replicate the Marvel bug.
Yeah.
Just try and replicate the Marvel formula, and they just couldn't do it. And it's just shit. Like, you know, that's Marvel took what makes comic books great is sheer volume and great storytelling, and they picked it up and put it on cinema format. You know, DC are yet to do that. So,
Apart from the Batman films.
yeah, but this is talking about the overall extended universe, isn't it? Like this is a problem as well. Like, where do you pick up the continuity and when do you drop it off? Like, Joaquin Phoenix's Joker, for instance, I'm happy to drop that off in continuity because it's a standalone film. Chris Nolan Batman's, that's a trilogy. It's a standalone trilogy. That's its own continuity. Are we saying that the Harley Quinn films feature in the same world as the Zack Snyder Justice League? Yeah. So that's great. But how have you got one film which is meant to be so dark in 1 minute and then meant to be so light and bubblegummy the next? You know, like, how are you meant... Where's the vibe? Where's the vision? Where's... Like... What the fuck is this meant to be? You know, now Zack Snyder's recent Justice League release...
Which I haven't seen.
Which you haven't seen, I won't spoil it for you. It's great. It's a lot better than the original. A lot better. But still, I don't know if I'm saying it's a lot better because it's the original was just dog shite.
Yeah.
You know, like, utter dog
But
shite.
people are saying it's like actually a good film now.
Yeah, it's 4 hours long though.
Yeah.
Like, do you want to watch a 4-hour superhero movie? Like, like,
You'd never be able to really sit in the cinema though. That would have to.
no, like I needed a good few vape breaks in between, like, you know.
Yeah. Need to pause it.
Yeah, but
Imagine doing that in the cinema, 4-hour film.
fuck that.
You wouldn't be able to. You'd have to go toilet breaks and everything. You'd miss important parts.
Yeah, you need a fucking intermission, like a fucking theatre play has.
Yeah. That'd be hilarious. 10-minute break.
Come back mid-sentence. But yeah, like, I can't even remember the point I was making. Yeah, Zack Snyder Justice League. You can tell it's trying to set up a bigger vision of what it is, but it's just, it feels a bit lackluster. It feels a bit scattergun. It feels a bit, you know, let's throw enough fucking darts at this board and people are going to find a few of these bits interesting and we might make a film out of them in the future. You know, half these stories we won't actually follow up, kind of thing.
Yeah.
If they do follow them up, oh well, interesting. But I don't think they will. You know, because it's another, like, what, 5 films they've probably they've got to understand with fucking Ben Affleck as Batman, which makes no sense if Robert Pattinson all of a sudden comes along and makes a load of money as Batman.
Yeah, how's this working?
This is the problem with the DC continuity, mate. This is the problem because you can't just buy into one Batman. You can't just be like, oh, this is the Batman which is in the DC
So Robert
universe.
Pattinson's not going to be making an appearance in the...
No. He's going to be a standalone Batman in the same way that a Joker was a standalone Joker.
It's funny, so they're going to be like... I feel like they're going to be like great films.
Yeah. And it's, yeah.
But they're separate from
Yeah.
their whole Marvel copy and paste thing.
Exactly. And like, I don't really rate Zack Snyder as a director. I think Zack Snyder, his films are beautiful to look at, but I don't think they've got much substance
300?
to them. Yeah. I don't think they've got much substance to them. Now, I don't really feel like I understand why he would be the director to take the DC universe forward. But I don't think that's the type of vision that they need. I don't think it needs to be excessively over comic booky in style. You know, I'd far rather watch the Chris Nolan gritty, like fucking. I want to see the blood dripping off a brick kind of thing after the Joker's head's been smashed into it kind of vibe. You know, that's the sort of Batman I want.
You want the 18 rated, yeah.
Yeah. I want to see dark DC universe. That would be amazing. That would be a franchise in itself.
I feel like they could do that just with Batman. Like, Batman has so many characters within Batman.
Yeah. Mate, Batman's got
You
some
don't even
great
have to
lore.
involve all, like, the DC universe, you know?
No.
Just Batman.
Mate, Batman's got some great lore. You've got the Joker, you've got Harley Quinn, you've got
Riddler, Penguin.
Mr. Freeze. that would be. We can mention that.
That's the Arnold Schwarzenegger
Yeah,
one,
we can bring him in. Poison Ivy.
I saw a clip of that the other day. It's so funny.
Poison Ivy. Now she's a cool character.
Mm.
I've always liked Poison Ivy. As a character.
There's just so many characters with Batman.
Yeah, it's great. Fucking Croc.
Yeah. He was in Suicide Squad, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But no, like, and Bane as well. Let's not forget Bane. Fucking virtually as big as the Joker.
These are some amazing villains where you could have standalone films for each one.
Exactly. I really want to see the Riddler get his own. I know, obviously, we're going to see him in Robert Pattinson's Batman.
Is he going to be the main enemy?
I don't know
main
if he's
villain?
going to be the main enemy, but I know Riddler's going to be in it.
All I can remember of him is Jim Carrey playing
Yeah,
him.
Jim Carrey is not a good Riddler. Jim Carrey is not a good Riddler. Now, I love Jim Carrey as an actor, but no way is he the Riddler. Riddler is very unsettling. Very, like...
More like the Joker.
Yeah. Some of the portrayals of the Riddler have been very difficult to, like, kind of separate from the Joker. And I think the way that you kind of... The way you separate the two is based upon the fact that the Riddler is more intellectual. And the Riddler will set the traps and with the intention of Batman solving them, to then find an answer at the end where, like, shit blows up or whatever. Do you get what I mean? But it's got to solve a puzzle to get there in the first place. The Joker will just set up a trap to, like, blow shit up. But they're essentially the same kind of character type,
Yeah.
if you get what I mean. So I'm interested to see how the Riddler is portrayed.
The
And
Riddler would just be really more annoying about it because you'll have to crack a fucking code.
Yeah.
to understand what he's doing.
Yeah.
Like, I don't have time for fucking Sudoku right now.
Yeah, exactly. But, like, I'm intrigued to see... And I think because it's like, Riddler lends himself great to, like, video games and stuff like that, which is why he's been put in video games and comics really well. But to actually put him into a film, I can't imagine it being, like, I can imagine it being quite difficult to portray. But I can imagine if they make put a lot of emphasis on him as a villain and really get into his backstory, really dive into it, and really, I know, find a way of bringing that kind of quizzical side, that, like, actually having to try to resolve, like, solve a puzzle to actually find out what the fuck's happening. If they found a way of making that doable in an entertaining way, I could think that would make for a great villain. Especially since Batman's just dumb, generally. Like, he's always been like 10 steps behind anyway, so.